Welcome to the show. Hi, I'm Randy Jeffers, and we are live from the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, we have a really special guest, Zion.Jones, who has a brand new radio station just getting ready to launch. And tell us a little bit about what's the name of the radio station or the radio program?
Yeah, it's Rock Life with Zion, charging station radio. We're going to be launching on September 3rd here in Las Vegas. It's going to be for Charging Station West.
Charging Station West,
yes.
Okay. Great.
Yes, we have a Charging Station East that's going to also launch on September 1st. So we're really excited about it.
I bet, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the show about?
Rock Life with Zion actually is about transformation of lives. It is a love movement. I'll be speaking on several different topics. So it's really transforming one life at a time.
So it's a love movement, you said?
Absolutely.
L-O-V-E, love movement, okay.
Yes.
Great, that sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of guests are you going to have?
Oh, several. Just all types of different genres we have. I have something called mashed potatoes, which is really awesome. It's for marriage couples. Talking about, we all start off in marriages as two hard potatoes. That's my concept. And to make mash, you do go through a process in different situations in that. So we'll be talking to married couples, also talking to singles who are looking to be married.
Who want to be mashed.
Yes, want to be mashed. Preparing them for the mash.
Right.
Because it is a process. And so teaching them that process and being complete and whole before entering into the marriage.
Very fascinating. So this all starts, once again, when?
September 3rd for Charging Station West. Okay. I also will be launching Rock Life with Zion also on that same day.
Okay, so if we want to go listen to you, then where do we go to do that?
You go to chargingstationradio.org.
Okay, chargingstationradio.org. Okay.
Yes. And then you can put /RockLife.
RockLife,
yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And so this is how often is this going to air?
It's going to air every day, 24/7. What we do with Charging Station West, we are promoting and advertising and bringing on new broadcasters who would love their shows as well. So we're doing a lot of that. Some of the advertising, people who have music, we're inviting them to submit their music so that it can be on rotation. We have a top favorites for singers, so we have a lot that's going over in that area. So anyone that has a video or any great music that they have done, we ask them to go ahead and submit it. We would love to have it to be part of our top 10 favorites.
Wow, that's fabulous. So are you going to do some music yourself on your show?
It's coming.
Yeah?
It's coming, yes. I'd love to be going to the studio and getting it down and so forth. But just watch out for that because that is in the near future.
Wow. So we look forward to that. That's going to be really fun to watch, and sounds like there's going to be a lot of other shows, new shows that are going to be starting up on the network, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I like it to be a little different. Everything, a lot of people do the brick and mortar like AM, FM, but we believe because we have TV on demand and also radio on demand, we also have ministry on demand. So we're looking that anyone that's interested in getting their product or service out there, this will be a great place to go with us because we definitely have Samsung and Sony and all different types of programs that we can get out there in front of millions of people. So we're just really excited about this movement and, just being a voice. We're looking for positive voices that can transform lives, especially even with the youth, giving them something that they can actually get substance from, where they can learn positive things and things that will, this new generation really needs some positive things going on.
Absolutely. So obviously you're the host of your own show.
Yes.
But you're also part of the network?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So and this is, do you have some partners in that, or you?
Yes. I do have partners. I have a partner. We're doing a charging station west, and we are definitely. They started out from Houston, Texas, and they've been since 2007, and we're collaborating in our what we're doing together, along with our other partners who have Sony Orchard, which brings on the TV demand, the radio demand. Right now, like I said, we have the ministry on demand, we have health and fitness on demand, we have DJ on demand, and it can go on, if you look at Samson and what they have, over 220 million plus. So it's really awesome if you want to do your own network, which requires a lot of work because that's a lot of content.
Right.
So anybody who's ready to move forward, be that voice, and just make, change lives, we definitely have that platform for that.
So really anyone that's out there watching us right now, if they have a talent or some area of expertise and they want to have their own radio show, they could contact you and find out how it works. Would they go to the website, or do you have an email that they could use?
They can go there, and they can also email me at RockLifeWithZion@gmail.com.
RockLifeWithZion, Zion, @gmail.com.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Well, I'm sure that's going to be very intriguing to a lot of people.
Thank you.
What do they have to have? Because some of us are probably watching this and we go, well, I'm a little afraid. Maybe I'm not qualified. What kind of qualifications would they need?
I would say a voice, just something they have a passion about. It's time to stand in the you. I say that God gives us all a talent and a gift, and that's our blessing. And it's time for us to operate in those gifts and talents and just come out with it. And be confident to know that this is your blessing to move forward. This is a spiritual radio, even though we do take positive music, but we're looking for people who really would like to be a voice, to make change and feel comfortable and confident about what they would like to do.
Very interesting. So let's talk about Zion Jones a little bit. Tell us about you.
Me? Oh gosh, that's interesting. It's never so comfortable talking about myself, but I'm just grateful. I've actually originally from Ohio, and I moved to California and traveled quite a bit, and now here in Las Vegas. I like to say I've definitely been on this journey for a while because I am a transformational instructor. So I do counsel from married couples to singles to people with doing anger management and any of that. Anything that someone needs to actually get past that tunnel and see the light in a situation. So that all started where I'm at today, is being able to help lives and to give them something that they can press forward with in confidence, knowing that it's just not always the dark place, but learning to embrace the dark place and seeing the light in that. So I'm just really grateful I've been able to do all that. But right now, I feel like everything's going to another level in my life. Being able to be a help. We have Hydrate the Homeless that we do, which they can also see on the website. Going over different cities and so forth, and states, of course, because we have it in Houston and different places that anyone can be a part of that.
That's Hydrate the Homeless.
Yes, Hydrate the Homeless.
So you're providing water, I'm assuming?
Yes, absolutely, providing water to the homeless.
Oh, very good. So, because of your mission, and it's directed at people that have gone through or are going through troubles and tribulations, I guess. How did that become your mission? Did you go through some things yourself, and your own misery became your mission, like a lot of people?
That's interesting and very, very. That's wisdom right there. Absolutely, I believe we all have things that we go through, and learning to understand that pain is our teacher. You start to talk to pain. Pain is something that you actually have conversation with, and it tells you borders, things you like and what you dislike. So I've been able to go through a lot of different things, and these things are not here to conquer us. They're actually here for us to be transforming into greater dimensions in our lives. And a lot of people, we don't know how to do that. That's why some people have gone through the same thing that you may have gone through, or I've gone through, but that's why we're the bridge. And I thank God that, through the things that I failed and was able to get back up, He's taught me how to be that bridge so that you wouldn't have to go through it, but you would understand it and can embrace it and understand the wings that you have to fly from, that situation.
Well, a lot of people, I'm sure, that are listening right now are, like all of us, we have things in our lives, right? And
Yes.
And most of us are not totally fulfilled. We're not where we want to be. We have things that are keeping us back. A lot of us are, we let the circumstances get on top of us instead of us being on top of the circumstances. But what, for those, let's say someone's hurting right now, and for those that are in that situation, what kind of advice would you have for them? What's the first thing they should do?
I always say go back to the roots. For those who don't know much about prayer or maybe have a relationship with God, understanding that voids can only be filled with the love of God in your heart. We try to fill those voids with things, material things, with people, looking for love. But I say become love. And as you become love, you will draw love. That's why I tell even the singles, I said, don't go looking for something. If you become it, it will come to you. So I say to anyone that's hurting, learn to pray. Get to find out about your Creator, our Creator, because He's the one that created us. He's the one that knows us. And if you know anything, it's like when you buy a car or buy anything from the manufacturer, you always take it back to that place to get it fixed. He is the only one that can fix us. He is the only one that can complete us. So we can't look for anything outside of ourselves. We have to actually go to the Creator. And the first commandment is love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. And when you become to love Him, then you will love your neighbor as you love yourself. And when you're able to love your neighbor as yourself, then you have arrived, because that means that the flesh has to die, because we go through what hurt us is other people. Hurting people hurt people. We get offended. Someone does something to us that we don't like. How do we deal with this? And I say the Word of God is life. It is power. And so say, for instance, if something tragic or hurtful happened to me that day, I can read the scripture or recite the Word of God like Christ did when He was in the wilderness. And I would say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I would start quoting scripture and it makes me live. And I surround myself around people who have the Word in them. So then when I need prayer, because we all go through things, we need that great company or people we can go to say, okay, you know what, I'm going through this. And you don't even have to even say it. But the Spirit is so strong, they'll start praying the answer. So really just getting around those people who can build you, people who truly love you unconditionally, meaning that they're going to be there for you. That's how you can tell who your friends are, but you got to discern that you're around the right people, because there are people actually that can bring you down and be the cause of what you're going through.
So, a lot of us are around people that really are the cause, as you say, and are toxic in various ways. And so what do you do when you're surrounded by people like that?
Well, you remove yourself. And I'm a strong believer in the Word of God, because it's, I say, instructions. It teaches us how to live. It teaches us what to do in a situation. So if you're around toxic, it even tells you, don't throw your pearls in front of swine. So, and then it tells you about sitting in the seat of the scornful. It's telling you things of a wise man loves correction, but if you correct someone that is not in that position, they will scorn you. So it gives you so many instructions, and that's why it says the Word is life. And when we become it, and when we actually obey it, it actually, God loves it so much. It's like a child, and you tell your son or your daughter, you're like, don't go across the street because you can get hit by a car. And that's understandable. But I think when people look at the Bible, a lot of people almost rebel because they feel like, well, I want to kind of do what I want. But we all want to kind of do what we want to do. But the Word of God, which is the love of Christ too, is just really there for our protection. So when He tells us to do something and not to do something, it's our Father. And our Father is saying, you know what? Don't steal, or don't kill, or don't commit fornication. These things are in there simply for us to have a beautiful life in Him. So it's just that information that He's given, which is really life. And when you actually allow it to live in you and you become that Word, you become where you can do the things Christ did on this earth, and even greater, as it is written in the Word.
Well, it's very interesting, and you obviously have a spiritual, very strong spiritual side to you that sort of controls everything you do. It sounds like, and also in the advice that you're giving, you sort of start there, right? But once you've passed that part of it, and in terms of just human things that we can do, what are some of your suggestions there?
The human things we can do? Well, I always say, because I'm a biblically based individual, and I take the word literally. So what I know is that as I see you this moment, I see flesh. But I know that you are covered, the flesh is covering a spirit, who you actually are. Your pains, your experiences, who you are, deep down inside, what you deal with on a daily is part of your spirit, your soul, which is your will. So when this passes away, this flesh, the spirit still lives. So a lot of people say, well, what about the human part? What, flesh part? Well, the flesh is like, to me, is the earth, And then the spirit in us activates and generates and can overcome this earth. Because we are to have dominion over the earth. So we are to have dominion over this flesh in the spirit. Like Paul said, he said, even though I do good, the evil of presence is always around me. He's just saying that flesh, it has certain things in it that actually war against my spirit. And that's why I'm saying it's important to know your word, so that you do not actually succumb or conform to that flesh that's trying to get you to do those things that are in error. So go back to your question, is that I know and believe that we are a spirit being first, because it depends on which one you feed. You can feed the flesh or you can feed the spirit. We feed the flesh with things of this earth, of this world, whether we're conceiving the notion of our government or our lifestyle or the way we do things. That's that. But the spirit man is more important of the things that are eternal, because we are an eternal being. So when you're an eternal being and you want to continue to be an eternal being, you're going to apply those principles to your life. I tell people the most important journey is your inner journey. And it takes the things outside to get you to the inside. Whether it's hurt, whether it's excitement, you go always on the inside and you evaluate that. So we have to live that inner journey, which is the most important journey.
And so how's your energy, your inner journey?
Awesome.
That inner journey sounds like energy almost.
I know, it does. Yeah. And it does have an energy, so maybe that's why.
Yeah.
My inner journey, because I always, like I said, like you can see the spiritual love that I have for God is my passion. It's my passion. And my passion is I love people. And I see people that go through certain things. And there's a difference in going through something and being chastised for things, because it's just like you chastise your son or daughter because you love them. It's like, I'm chastising you because I don't want you to do this anymore because I know this is not good for you. And like God said, he said, the things in heaven is the same thing as here below. So we can look at things below and really understand what's in the heavens. Like, for instance, you have a mother, father, and son. In heaven, there's a mother, father, and son. Like here, you have laws that you got to obey. If you go ahead and don't put your seatbelt on, the cops see you. You know, if you pass the light, there's a law. People have to understand, too, there's laws in heaven. You know, and God said, those who love me keep my commandments. So this is how we show God that we love him, is by obedience. You know, so just looking, and if people don't understand, he said he made things on the earth very plain so you can understand how your relationship should be with me.
Uh-huh. So Zion Jones grew up in Ohio.
Yes.
And what was that like?
Boring. No. It was interesting, you know, because...
Are you a city girl or a country girl?
No, I would say country girl.
Yeah.
I'm a country girl, and my dad was a minister. And actually, I'm very happy because I was adopted at 6 months. And I met my parents when I was 18 years old. And that's something else I do with people in adoption, because a lot of times it's just like many can feel like they do not belong anywhere, and that can be an issue. I think what we grow up with, domesticated things that we deal with as a child, are some of the things that we fight when we're older, and trying to find ourselves and to find that completeness. So yes, just, you know, the country girl that I was, and just learning everything and going through the things I did as a child. Like I said, I was adopted 6 months, and finding my parents and dealing with trying to love two people at the same time, because of course that can be very, very hurtful when someone, because mine was supposed to be a private, meaning that my biological mom was never to find me. Mm-hmm. But God had another plan, you know. Mm-hmm. So, but learning to embrace these things as a child and growing up is definitely been an experience, and allowed me to come to the place that I am now, to show people how to have that now, not to worry about what you went through. It's actually a setup for you to actually go into a higher level in your life.
So your adopted father was a minister?
No, my adopted father was a minister. Yes.
So all the time when you were growing up, you were
in the church.
Churches. Yeah.
Definitely in the church. Yes.
Yeah, my father was a minister as well.
Wow,
yeah,
that's awesome.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yes. And
so you weren't really a country girl. You must have lived in a small town, maybe.
Well, I'm from Akron, Ohio, and I call it country because, you know, my mom and dad who adopted me, they were originally, and their parents were from Mississippi. And so I just felt like very cultured, and, you know, I was the only child being raised up, so that was different.
Oh, you're the only child?
The only child, wow. Yes, in my adopted home. But then when I found out about my own, you know, my parents, biological, yes, I found out I had 7 sisters.
Wow.
I was the oldest, and so that was very interesting, you know, just having that family. And then on my dad's side, he had like 3 children.
On your birth dad?
Yes.
Your biological
yes, because they didn't marry, of course.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So what were some of the experiences you had in Ohio that so different from California or Las Vegas?
Oh my gosh, it's a very small place, not a lot of opportunity. I haven't been back there in a very long time. And like I say, when I went there, it was a saddened place. It's like going through a lot right now, as far as a lot of negative things that's going there. And I really hope to, you know, if God leads me to go there, to really help mend the hearts. You know, when there's not a lot of opportunity, when there's nothing to do, and when you're oppressed about a lot of things, you get a lot of crime. You get a lot big time crime, because people they have nothing to live for, you know. And I just want people to know, you know, look, you do have something to live for, because that's why you're here. That's why God created you, and you just got to find out what it is, you know. And you have to stay focused. That's why I said the word, which is the life of God that permeates and exudes through you, will activate that. it will make you feel like yes. And then you have the people who will sow good seeds in you, because we're where we take seeds. Like, I can say something positive to you and it can change your whole life. You know how they used to say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's the biggest storyteller you can ever know, because words can kill you. I mean, even in the Bible it says life and death is in the power of the tongue. So we are accountable for every word that we say. So it's very important that we use our words wisely, and that we would use them to build and not to break down.
So, other than biblical characters, who would you say are your biggest mentors? Who do you respect the most? Who do you listen to? Who do you like to read or follow? I
love to read. I do love to read, but you pulling me from something that I am, so I don't even know what to say. But I do. I've read some books by Annalise Guerin. I love her books because they're so positive, but they're totally spiritually based. But it teaches you about being, just becoming love. That's really what her book's about. It's really, when you become love, you're not offended like you normally are. You're not easily to be hurt like you would normally be. It just teaches you how to embrace all things and know that when something happens in front of you, you don't have to conform to it. I have the power. If I let you hurt me, I've given you the power. I have. I can't say, oh, you made me mad, because you don't have the power to make me anything. I have to give it to you. So that's what this love movement is about, unconditionally loving one another, because people may hurt you, but can you love them through that hurt?
Well, let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure.
Because you mentioned that a couple of times, and the whole field of love is very intriguing, and the Greeks have a number of words for the word love. We just in the English language we have one word that sort of covers a whole lot of things, and we sort of know when we say that word kind of what we're talking about, but not always. And so it's a little bit easier for the Greeks probably when they have 4 or 5 words that explain the different kinds of love. But you said unconditional love. Do you think that's possible?
I truly do. Yeah. I truly do, because Christ had unconditional love.
Yeah.
And he was the example for us. And it's like, okay, he said, well, you have no guile in your heart when people come against you and afflict you, that you should have joy. Instead of allowing it to hurt me, I've learned to have joy in that, because it's truly a blessing to know that I can love on someone when they hurt me and maybe win them over to something great. Because they're like, it consumes the mind to think like, wow, this person was really kind to me when I was really, mean, or some people call it a jerk, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it makes them think. But, if you put fire to fire, you always get fire. So if I'm mean and you're mean, what's going to be completed there? But if I can love on you through your transition of where you are, maybe I can win a few to let them know, you know what, I love you no matter what. Because you never know what people go through. People are going through things, and they want love. They need love. We were created from love. So being that love nature to whatever it is, who need it the most is those who are not lovable.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So you really think that people can unconditionally love each other? Have you ever met anyone that has unconditional love?
Yes.
Yeah? Tell us about them. What were they like?
Me.
Besides you.
I can only speak for myself. Yeah. I can only speak for myself, but I've met people who just really, have that love. I don't know all their situations in their life, but I know that I've seen them operate and exercise love.
Loving people.
Yes.
That's a great quality, obviously, when you can share love with people and anything, when you're positive, and because most people live on the other side, right? Most people let the negative influences in their life
Right.
control them. And, it doesn't take a lot to sort of change some of those things. I think we're all striving and hungry
Yes.
for positive
Yeah.
things in our life, right?
Yeah, because light is the love. And so when you can shine on someone who's feeling negative and dark, you're allowing them to be free from something that's trying to overtake them.
Well, I can sense that you are a shiner. You
Mhm.
shine love on people, huh?
Well, that's the goal.
So you're spreading this message, and this is what you're going to do on your radio show. You're going to be spreading the message of love.
Yes, definitely. Love is in everything, and everything that we do. Everything that we are should be love. You know, your character, how you act, your deeds, your thoughts. When you're at work, it should be love, just like when you're at home. Should be love. If you're truly love and love is exuding out of you, no one can change that. No ugliness, nothing someone does to you can change that. That's why I tell the people I counsel, I said never be a reactor. Always be an action person. I don't have to react to you or anyone else who does something wrong or hurtful to me, but I can be that action of love, and that's what I choose to do.
Very interesting. So, if you were to describe love in just one sentence, how would you describe it?
I would describe it as the I am, God. God is love.
And how about for us humans? What how would, if we took it out of the spiritual and tried to define it in human terms, how would we define it?
I am. There's no separation
Can't
because
change it, yeah.
no, because God created the humans. And I say, like I said, we're spiritual beings first, because the human part of us dies eventually. It doesn't, there's nothing that we can take with us when we die, and there's nothing we brought here when we came. So that's why I said that inner journey, that spiritual self is important. And the love is God, because He created you. He created us because He loved us.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you go back to the root of love, and understand that, like you were saying, the Greeks had 4 different ways to express love, but God is the expresser of all love. So if you go back to the root of the love in Him, you'll be able to express all those other loves through Him.
How about happiness?
Happiness?
How does happiness and love fit together? Well, everybody is, it seems that they're all searching for happiness, right?
Yeah, everyone.
What is happiness, and how does it work in with love?
I always say happiness always takes something to happen, because people can be happy one minute and upset the next, and so I always go by joy, because joy, like it says, the joy of the Lord is my strength. So meaning that I can have joy no matter what's going on in my life, and it's just a power in joy. Because someone can be doing something, but because the joy of the Lord is my strength, that means that when I'm not what they call happy, guess what? I still have joy, because it is my strength. So it actually gives me a power and strength in God, that when I'm going through those hard times, I can still have a peace. And that's the beautiful thing and gift that God has given us, is that place of peace. No matter what is going on, we can still have that joy and peace within us. And that's part of the inner or internal journey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's probably somebody watching us right now, right out there,
Mm-hmm.
that has some bad things happening in their life. They don't know, what to do. They don't know what the next step to take is.
Mm-hmm.
They're just sort of lost, and it's sort of like maybe they're at a fork in the road where they could go off, where some really bad things could happen, or they could go into another direction that is more like what you're talking about. What? Just look in the camera and give them some advice. What would you tell them to do?
I would say to you to understand that everyone has come from the Creator, and the Creator loves us. He loves us and allows these things, because a lot of us don't understand why things happen to us. Why me? We always ask that question, why me? But it is really these things that can happen to bring you to come into the internal, to understand you, to understand your Creator, so that you can pray and make that relationship with Him before anything else can go to another level in your life. So what I would say to you is to pray, get to understand your Creator who loves you, and reach out to people that you know that are positive, that can pray with you. I would love to pray for you. You know, you can email me, write me, anything that's on your heart, because a lot of times, sometimes it takes two. One can't sometimes go by itself, and the enemy wants to get us by ourselves so that we become feeling attacked and no one cares and no one understands. But that's what family is for. That's what love is for. And I would love to just pray with you, let you and remind you of how great you are, because you're here for a purpose, and maybe not know what that purpose is. And those situations is really there to call you, to get your attention on what really it is that you have in you to be an overcomer.
Very good advice. That was great. That was fabulous. Well, let's talk a little more about you. Let's say 5, 6, 7 years from now. What do you think Zion Jones is going to be doing? What's your life going to be like?
Oh, only God knows. He knows. 'Cause
What would you like it to be like?
I would love to, with this love movement, to transform one life at a time. You know, to let people understand that the things that happen to us that we do not quite understand is not there to crush you, but to be a pillar. You know, and to build a love movement because unity is power, and a lot of us to come together and to help those, whether it be the homeless, whether it be someone in a domestic violence situation. It's all kinds of things that's going on right now. There's a lot of people hurting right now, and love is the only thing that's going to be able to transform that.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, you should have been born in the 60s, or you should have been of age in the 60s. When the whole love movement, the love generation was here. You would have fit right in, wouldn't you?
I know.
You could have put a flower in your hair, and you'd be,
That's so cute.
it would just be perfect.
That's cute.
I grew up in
yes.
that time, you know, it was a
Yeah.
really interesting time.
But where's those flowers?
well,
You got any left?
Nobody wears them anymore.
No more, no.
But it was an
Okay.
interesting time to grow up, and you know, that
Awesome.
generation changed the world in a lot of ways.
Wow.
A lot of ways. Not always so good, but a lot of good came out of it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, if it's a blessing, we will hope that it will do the same now, you know, and maybe it's the call back to, you know, transform the lives of others, to be that love example. And I just truly believe, you know, like you said, 5 years from now, there's going to be a lot of joyful hearts, strong people that can be an overcomer in their situation, and also be a hand to uplift others that have gone through the same thing they have,
Right.
with an answer.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, you really are an amazing person, and I
Thank
just
you.
love listening to you. But tell me this, if you would. Who do you want to say thank you to in your life for getting you to where you are so special like you are?
Well, of course, I can only say first thank you to the Most High God, because without Him, I would not be able to be who I am and be able to be what I can do to help others to overcome in their lives. Because He is the one, like I said, the one that fulfilled the voids in my heart. He's the one that completed me, so that I had to no longer search for love, but actually become love and let it exude out of me, so that I can be the love movement in other people's lives.
Yeah. How about out of the group of humans that have been involved in your life, cross paths?
You know, I can say the people like my sisters and brothers, who I can go to when the trials are and the tests come, and they can talk to me and they can pray with me, and we eat and we laugh, you know, and it's really because life is family. You know, family is the most important you can have, and sometimes you will have blood family, and then sometimes you have your church family, and sometimes church family can be better than blood family.
Sometimes.
You know? So just like I said, you have to find that circle of love, the people who really believe in you and trust in you, and give you something beautiful so that you can soar.
So you met your siblings when you were grown up, it sounds like.
Yeah, I actually met them when I was 18.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it was a cute little story. I don't know if we have time for it, but
Sure.
It was funny because I was working in a fish market at the time, and this wonderful lady came up and she was like, can I get a fish? And I said, oh, you want this one? She said, oh, no, sweetheart. She said, let me have that one right there. And I was like, oh, she's so sweet. I mean, she was just so sweet, like honey. And I gave her the fish, and she turned around. I was like, man, I wish she was my mom. You know, it was just something about her. I was like, oh my gosh, because she's just so sweet, you know, like honey. And so it had to be a couple weeks later, or so, maybe a month or so, this same lady with 5 little kids came up to my door. And she looked at me and she said, yes, she said, I'm your mother. And I'm
Wow.
like, and the little kids were jumping up and down, sister, sister. You know? I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, it was the same lady. And then my adopted parents were there in the door, and you know, it's like, come in, because you don't want all the neighbors. It's like, and it's a hurtful time at the same time, because
Yeah.
I have joy in my heart because
Mixed emotions, sure.
yeah, this connection, but then I'm like, oh, I don't want my parents who raised
Right.
me to feel hurt, you know. So it started from there. She said she found me. It was at a Berean store. If anybody knows about those stores, it's like a Bible store, and she found lost and found card. It said, if you lost anything, you want to find it, to call this number. And sure enough, they found me. And I just say that it was meant, because when they did the adoption, they told my parents that it's closed and they'll never know you, and plus they're not even from here. Come to find out, she was on the east side of town, I was on the west.
Oh,
all my life.
All your life. Wow.
All my life, yes.
And how about your biological father? Did you meet him?
Yes, I did. She actually made time to call him and tell him that, you know, I found our daughter. And now she has passed away. She did pass away, I believe, in 2012. But I felt blessed that I had 2 parents, you know,
Yeah.
a set of 2, if you can say.
Yeah. Double joy.
Double joy, you know. And so when she passed away from pancreas cancer, she knew in, I would say, March, and passed away in May, because it was really quick. And I felt like she handed the baton to me, because she loved God with all our heart, and we wasn't even raised together, and we laughed the same, we talked the same, and it's so funny because the genes, it's just really the genes, it's really in you. So she was just a beautiful, wonderful mother.
Wow, that's fabulous. So your siblings, now your new siblings that you,
Yes.
I guess you've been with them for quite some time now, but you're very close?
Yes, I love them. They're in Columbus, Ohio, and they keep me being an aunt, for real, because I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and just a beautiful family. We stay close as sisters. Of course, we miss our mom, because she was really the anchor in
Yeah.
the family, you know. She was similar to myself. You know, just keeping that word and feeding her children with that, knowing that that's the only thing that would sustain us.
Oh, that's great. Now, we only have about a minute and a half left,
Okay.
but I understand you have a wonderful daughter.
Yes.
Tell us about her.
Christie, oh, she's such a blessing. Christie, she is a beautiful daughter. She is a writer and an author. She has a book that's coming out. She did have a book on Amazon called Ace. Now she's doing one, Unstoppable of Time. So
Wow.
she's an excellent author. She's getting her books out. We're looking to make them feature films and television. So she's
You must
a
have
joy.
been 3 whenever you had hers.
I was. How'd you know? That's cute.
You don't look like you're anywhere near old enough to have a daughter that's grown and is
Yes.
an author. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
That's
Thank
wonderful.
You. Thank you.
So we have less than a minute. Say something. What do you want to say to your daughter?
Christie, I am so proud of you and what God has put you, a talent in you, and that you are actually working in that talent to also be a blessing to people's lives. It's about purpose and understanding your purpose, moving in that purpose strong and confidently, no matter, just keeping focused, no matter what's happening, that's the distractions, but you're pushing forward and you're going to do great because your heart is right.
Oh, that's fabulous. Well, I don't know where this hour went. It went so fast. But Zion Jones, thank you. It's so great to know you, and
Well,
thanks
you
for
for
being with us
inviting
and
me.
sharing.
Thank you.
Great. And we'll see you next week, same time, same station. Bye-bye, everybody.